We would like to apologize for the poor quality of this video when it comes to sound.
But basic is not necessarily qualified. So what's the meaning of basic? Is it to have education from the age of 5 or 6? Does it mean that I'm entitled to a full education both in primary school or high school level? Is basic education that all my teachers should be trained, should be in class teaching for a full 7 hours per day? So what's the meaning of basic education? I'll be chairing the session, but I'd like to introduce you to 3 of our panelists that will assist me to try to answer some of the difficult questions in basic education. In the middle is Delia Prinsloo. She's from the Publishers by Africa. Enough, thank you. We're looking forward to what you're going to say. And then Tema Vlob on that side. Tema is fulfilling a very important role at SACE, the South African Council for Educators, the professional body. And Tema will make his contribution. And on this side, all the way from the UK, is the Tracy body. Tracy, welcome. We're looking forward to get your views, not only the UK view, but also views from Western Africa, lessons learned, and what can we do. The topics we're going to cover is foundation phase education, what can happen in the foundation phase, what should happen, the teacher training and development, what's the role of unions in education, obviously linked not only unions, but salaries, the matric madness, and what should basic education look like. We only have 30 minutes, so without any further ado, I'm immediately going to hand over to Nia for your contribution. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jacob. As Jacob said, I'm from a publishing company called Gaia Africa, and according to us, our biggest problem at this stage is the poor quality of our teachers, the lack of content, subject content knowledge and other skills like ICT skills. And that's one of our biggest challenges. But if I start with the foundation phase, and I don't really want to focus on all the problems in the foundation phase, but I think one of the main problems is that the district officials are so focused on matric results and that they don't see the importance of early grade education. And that's where the critical thing has to start. We have to start with early grade education. So we have to re-educate our district officials so that they can also see it's important to start with early grade education and not only focus on matric results. But in the industry, you will find lots of courses, especially SACE-endorsed courses, to help the teachers getting on track and on par. And maybe I must hand over to Temba here, because he can talk a bit more about the SACE-endorsed courses.
In terms of how it should look in the future. Our sense as SACE is that teachers are at the center of any education system. Teachers are the core of education in our country. And if as a country or DBE, we neglect this very core, I think we will be missing a very serious and crucial point. And that is why I want to agree with my colleague when he says the issue of teacher training, teacher development should preoccupy all our minds. Firstly, we need to deal with teacher training being a teacher, the initial teacher training programs. How do we influence that? How do we ensure that the standards that go into teacher training are standards that will respond to the needs of our country? Second to it, it is important that we look at the teachers in the system now. How do we help them develop? Remember, as a country, we are from an era with different qualifications. We still have teachers today with PTC, we still have teachers today with the PTDs, and so on and so on. Curriculum has changed. Those teachers have been trained then. But with the changes in the curriculum, what is it that we are doing as DBE to ensure that we develop our teachers? So that is very crucial to us. And one call that we want to make through you, Chairperson, is that noting the fact that there are current programs in place in terms of helping our teachers develop. But with SAYS introducing CPTD, we are hoping that all teachers would be put on board in terms of where the country wants them. And therefore we're calling on all our teachers to embrace the CPTD program. And why did we come up with CPTD in essence? In a sense is all development programs aimed at developing our teachers. We as a professional body, we feel we need to endorse those programs. So that we are saying to our teachers, any program you participate in without the SAYS endorsement, you must be knowing that you may be playing with your own kind of career in the future. So with the question of SAYS endorsed programs, all providers must bring their programs to us. We need to evaluate them, endorse them, whether they're fit and proper to be taken to our teachers.
It is our speaker now to recruit the best possible people to become teachers.
What we have in the country currently is that, maybe let me take you back to my era. You would only become a teacher because you can't qualify for anything else. Huh? And the teaching was the cheapest kind of qualification.
Well, they're all agreeing, right? See the smiles.
I hope they do agree. Your children at high schools, actually, if you were to ask them who of them want to be teachers, it would be 0.1% of children. Because the profession is not appealing to our levels. And therefore, maybe responding to that question, I think it is important as a country. We look at how we recruit the best minds into the profession and also ensure that we advertise the profession as the profession of choice to our members.
I work, I run a company called iTech Global. I am based in the UK with my brother. However, we work mainly in West Africa, and a lot of the work that we do there is around teacher training and teacher development. So I think I'm going to try and pick up on my fellow Palo members' points and sort of look at moving forward in the work that we do to try and promote teacher training, not just at the beginning of a teacher's career, but throughout. So I would imagine in Ghana, for example, there's a similar problem here as in Ghana around teachers who, after maybe several years, feel they're not being paid particularly correctly, or they don't feel supported, and they maybe look at leaving the industry, look at going into the industry and leaving education. How do you retain those teachers? So it's about infusing the teachers, about teaching them how to move from teaching from a diagram in a book to actually doing a practical experiment and infusing their students and encouraging their students to understand that science and maths is relevant not only in school but also after they leave school, in higher education, in the workplace and in life. And those skills are not just focused on science, but they're pedagogical skills that can be used for teachers whatever subjects they're teaching. So for example, open-ended questioning, use of analogy and constructive teaching as well, so that students understand that a problem that they face in class that they may not understand, they already have the knowledge there and they can build on that knowledge to understand the problem in front of them. And that knowledge can be used, those skills can be used not only in school, but when they go on to higher education, further education, in their work life, and maybe even in their emotional and personal life.
Thank you so much. Hila, can you take the mic again? From a publisher's perspective, what can publishers do from the private sector, and what's the role of publishers within education? And if I can link it to another question, what's the influence of the digital era on what you do as publishers? And the lead publishers that you take maybe assist the challenges we face in education?
Yes, I think at this stage it's clear to everybody that we in the publishing industry are facing huge challenges. If we look at the technology that's coming in and e-learning that's coming in, we are really facing a lot of challenges in the publishing industry. But what we from our side can offer is definite courses to help our teachers to get on track with the technological part of it, but also to provide them with good resource material. And that's one of the things. There's a lot of open source material available, but that's not always linked to our curriculum. So we as publishers in South Africa must still make sure that the content is linked to our current curriculum.
Thank you so much.
I think that's a very unfortunate scenario. That everybody in the country is so focused on matric. Come December, everybody looks at matric results. Kids have passed, kids have failed. The essence of education starts at foundation phase. And that's where our focus should be. Because the moment we are so concerned about matrics, we are only concerned about the output. And what goes through in the process in teaching, we're not interested in. And I think the department has to, one way or another, come up with strategies that focus on all facets of teaching in our schools so that matric becomes just the output. But the problem in our country is all of us are making judgments based on matric results. And that becomes a very unfortunate. All interventions, matric, all winter classes, matric, but we're forgetting about those grade 4 learners. I always say, if you look at township schools, your grade 1s to grade 3s learn in the main in their mother tongue, am I right? In the main. But immediately they go to grade 4, those learners have to change to learn different subjects in a different language taught by different teachers. And we are not putting any interventions in that grade. And that is where, in terms of research, a number of learners get discouraged going forward with their learning. So I'm saying, actually, we should not be too obsessed with matric, but we need to be obsessed with the whole education system.
Thank you so much, Timo.
Yes, I have not had one upskill program from the Department of Education. Yes, they start off, and many things with the department is basically a soda water system. It starts up and then it dies out completely. There's no sustainability, nobody is sustaining the teacher that's in the class. We are not re-equipping him with new skills. If I look at the rainbow series of books that were given out throughout the country, they have a topic in maths that deals with base 10 blocks, the Dean's block. How many of our teachers know about Dean's block? Very few. But yet you put it there, you want them to teach Dean's block, but the teacher hasn't seen a Dean's block in reality as yet. So we need to reskill, retool and upskill our current teachers before you even go to the new teachers.
That's very important. Timo, would you like to respond to that? I mean, that's your field.
I don't think it's responding to, but it's affirming what the colleague is saying. You know, currently the DBE, you've got what we call IQMS. I know QMS is still being negotiated. Teachers are expected to identify development needs. But the reality of the matter is that IQMS is not implemented correctly in our schools. And the needs that teachers identify cannot be termed realistic needs. That is why we are saying, as says actually, what we need the DBE to do is to make sure that IQMS is implemented correctly, and with IQMS implemented correctly, teachers will be able to identify correct developmental needs. And once those are identified, CPTD then comes into the fore in terms of providing mediation to the needs that. But what we have currently, teachers are recycling their developmental needs because the IQMS system, the focus is on the pay progression more than the development aspect of it. We then are saying to the DPE, let's refocus on IQMS or QMS, whatever you call it, but focus on teachers identifying value. You are correct. Unless we upskill our teachers, we are not going to go anywhere as a country. Unless we invest more on teacher development, we are not going to go anywhere as a country. That is why also it says, when engaging with the department, we are saying the department as the primary force that has the responsibility of developing its workforce must come up with programs. And those programs must be brought to SAIS for SAIS to endorse them. But it is disappointing at this stage that very few programs are coming through.
Thank you. Mila.
I just want to say something here. I do agree with everything that you are saying, but we must never forget that the teachers also must take responsibility to start developing their own development, to start being involved in these type of courses, and that's very important.